Hey guys, Remastered here, back with another Starcraft Broodwar Remastered cast. And today we have a ladder game on Polypoid between the red Protoss, who is Snow, and he is playing against a blue Terran here named K1S2S3 brackets Dog. Okay, so that's that's an interesting Smurf name. So as mentioned on Polypoid, a 2023 ladder game, and I'm just really excited to bring you a Snow match. I don't think I have done in the 6-7 month history, I know it's brief, of my channel. I don't think I've done a Snow game yet. This is the very first one. Snow plays on 2 accounts. Apparently this one, the Huangso Jaguri, whatever you pronounce that, is his inverted commas troll account, where he does more interesting builds and things like that. And then his other main account, I suppose, is one that he has a slightly higher MMR on. He plays a little bit differently. Either which way, I don't really care, man. I'm just really excited to see Snow play. It looks immediately like he's going to go for a Nexus first, so typical aggressive style from him. And our Terran at this stage has just built his depot and looks like he's going to start building a Rax. So pretty normal build order from the Terran, not a low ground one, so not likely setting up for a gasless expansion. But we'll keep an eye on that to see how we go. All right, so the 12th probe comes out, headed down the ramp. Probably going to get his timing absolutely perfect, and boop, there it goes. Okay, so we're doing a lot of ladder on the channel in the next little while. Obviously there'll be some other games as well, but here's some of the players that we're going to be featuring over the next 6 months or so. I'm adding to this list to try and get all of the ASL season 15 players into the picture. It will take a bit of time and a bit of research, and to try and see if I can find these and get hold of them, but we still have a very good comprehensive list and games in the pipeline to look forward to. So subscribe if any of these players are your favorites. Please let me know who you'd like me to feature a little bit more of. And if you're a regular Rabbit viewer, wow, that is a tongue twister and a half. If you are a regular Rabbit viewer, please do hit that like button if you haven't disappeared now because of my stumbling stupidity. And yeah, man, let's get into this one. So it's a close spawn, which unfortunately makes a Nexus first probably quite a dangerous build to do. This is of course Snow though, and I think he'd back his micro to be able to hold against any pushes from the Terran. Terran just looks like he's building his factory, so nothing too unusual at this stage. Does have 1 Marine out and that's it, so the Nexus is complete. I'm sure Snow will start to pump probes from both of his Nexi, which I've learned is the plural for Nexus. No problem, his cybernetics core is still on the way. He could make 2 zealots if he needed to. I just think his scouting probe has returned now from his mission, but he probably has the confidence that Terran isn't likely to push, and as I say that, here come the boys. Okay, so we are going to have an exciting start to this game. It wouldn't be a TVP with a Nexus first if there wasn't some sort of exciting game. So the Zealot goes, oh dear, okay, so here they'll come. It's going to be a bunker rush of some kind. I've got absolutely no doubt about that. The core is down and Rangers started. 2 goons are on the way. I don't think that Terran's going to have enough to do damage here. I honestly don't, although here is the Vulture. Mines or nothing's coming in behind this. So here does come the bunker. He wants to do his utmost to take down this Nexus to try and find some economic parity. Range hasn't kicked in yet on these goons, and when it does, that'll make a big difference. He did keep the Zealot alive though, so he's going to try and target down as many of these Marines as he can so that none of them can actually get into the bunker. The SCVs though blocking the goons from coming down the ramp means that the Marines do get into the bunker, which is unfortunate. Range still not finishing means that this Nexus is probably going to go down. Terran, however, have not expanded behind this or even started a command center, so by knocking this down, he probably barely gets parity. I don't think he gets too much by way of an edge in any way, shape, or form. Snow, realizing that the Nexus is history, just lets it get sacked. And he's just going to probably just keep pumping out goons from here. Progressing in this build, he's still got 1 more worker. Adding a robotics facility So progressing now, probably going to get into observers. He may even go Reaver. We'll have to see. So range about to kick in. I think once it does, he'll probably try and position his goons around here to fire on the bunker. Of course, the mines could be a potential issue though here. Mines is about to finish from our Terran. So laying a few mines around here is going to make life very, very difficult for these goons to come down the ramp. So it's almost a race now between mines finishing and range finishing. So let's see which comes first. We see the command center comes into the production tab as well as siege mode. So our Terran's probably looking to expand and then just sit and turtle up and macro up behind this initial knocking down of the Nexus. But we can see there the bunker's going to get fired on by at least 4 of even all 5 of the goons are able to knock this down. So now the question or the challenge of course will be, and here comes a tank, and he could be able to siege up as soon as siege mode finishes. So I think he's going to send a zealot down here to eat some mine shots. He eats 3 of them, so he clears a pathway at least down towards where the minerals are. That seems to be the plan here. He may even do the trick where he pops the mine and then micros it back. We'll have to see. There we go. He does do it. I think no goons took a hit. Again, he does it. Good, great play from Snow. Understanding exactly where he is in the game. Now he's going to reestablish his Nexus. And I think now this game will normalize. So we're looking at 2-gate robo with observatory coming in to spot the mines as we go. Terran's going to retreat so that he can fortify his base. 26 plays 24. Of course, he's got a command center, whereas this Nexus is on the way. So there is a small window here for SCV to for Terran to pull ahead macroeconomically, and that might be a good opportunity for him to take advantage of. Snow is posturing back and forth. I think this is just him flexing his APM, moving his goons in between all his other movements and his mechanics and such. So the question now will be, where does he go from here? Does he look to take another base? Does he look to go up to 3 or 4 gates? He is adding another gateway. He is adding an observer. He's building a second one as well. So he wants to get some observers onto the map, probably just to get an eye on the factories. Has moved his goons all the way across the map here, so would be vulnerable in the unlikely event of a drop or something to that effect. I don't think that's a risk for him right now, and he is going to send an observer anyway to get a good idea of this. But the Terran is plenty protected by these 3 siege tanks behind this bunker, so there is no ways he's going to be getting in the front door here at all. Snow using this as an opportunity to establish a third quite quickly behind the establishment of his natural, which I think is just finished now. So here's the probe transfer. So I see economic parity being gained, and then probably economic superiority quite quickly after that, going from 1 to 3 bases almost instantly. So it's just 3-gate obs with a third coming up. The tech path that Snow is going to use is not yet obvious, whether he's going to go carriers or whether he's going to go arbiters or storm or reaver. We don't know yet at this stage, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that tech tree. I think now just the priority was just having enough units to not die to any factory push, although he has his observer in the base. You can see the armor is coming in now, so Terran hasn't yet started with his upgrades. Just got the 2 factories pumping at this stage, floating the eBay. So I think Snow's probably feeling quite comfortable that he can progress in this game without expecting too many early attacks from the Terran. So now it'll just be a case of tech path. Okay, so the transfer and the saturation of the third base is now completed. Snow's workers, he's got a 3-worker deficit. I reckon in about a minute and 20 seconds or so, he will have about a 4 or 5 worker lead. We'll just keep an eye on that. It does look like there's a little bit of an appetite from the Terran player to push, possibly on the third base of the Protoss. There's literally 4 goons here and 5, 6 over here. So not really much by way of army. If we could get in position with a few decent mines and get all these tanks going forward, probably with +1 kicking in, I think he could do some damage here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a factory explosion and a push off of 2 bases, as opposed to maybe trying to take a quick third. We'll keep an eye on the production tab to see how many more factories come in. It is at this stage looking like it's only 3. Also on Snow's side, it is looking like it's going to be Reavers. We see shuttle speed coming in. We see the first Reaver in the production tab. Snow probably the best player with Reavers in the world of any Protoss player. So it's always exciting to see how he plays that. He gets in range, he knocks down that turret, which could just be an inconvenience for him if he shuttles or want to try and fly in now. So I'm expecting some shuttle Reaver play shortly. I've got about 40 seconds or 30 seconds from my prediction on the workers. They're now even, so I don't see a superior lead. But he is building 2 probes, and our Terran is not building any more SCVs, so he is going to move into a worker lead shortly. And it's just natural, right? When you have the 3 nexuses versus the 2 command centers, you will inevitably move into the lead. But it looks like Snow is prioritizing aggression now over macro anyway. Here does come the shuttle. We're going to keep an eye on it. Speed hasn't yet come into play. So where and how he's going to drop this, I don't know. I think he might just group it with the rest of the army, but the Terran player is expecting this. So Snow's micro is generally incredibly good, but every single unit is following this Reaver. So as this is just posturing around here, I don't think he's going to drop it. Maybe he will. We'll have to see. Perhaps he's still waiting for speed, which is almost done. But Terran is incredibly ready for this. So it could just be part of the attempt to storm the natural base. But I think if anything, Snow might just use this as a contain to gain even more map control. And then potentially look at expanding. Although there is a Marine and a Vulture and some mines here, just slowing down the expansion to the 4th, which would probably be the logical next step for our Protoss to take. So instead of him worrying about that spot, he's actually expanded here, which you're actually advised not to do as a Protoss player. You're advised to always expand away from your Terran opponent and not towards. But this is Snow. He just does whatever he likes. He doesn't care. Don't worry about coaching and stuff. Just be amazing at everything, and you'll probably just always win anyway. So 122 plays 108, 53 to 52. Certainly a very, very even game. Anybody could certainly win it from here. A little bit of patience from Snow in establishing another base. Maybe moving around here. He has built this pylon here, probably just to have eyes on potentially taking this. I heard a goon die on the way up to trip the mine. Doesn't trip that second mine. I think this Marine's not long for this world. So Snow just seems to be using the opportunity of this little mini contain with the Reaver to really, really block the Terran from taking a 3rd base. And he's using this as an opportunity to establish a 5th base himself. So now it's going to become a 5 basing Protoss versus a 2 basing Terran. And this does force Terran to make the play. You can see here Terran have got heaps of units. They are building a command center here. So he is going to look to expand. He can't float a command center down here. He could float it in here, which is, I think, what plan will be. So my expectation is that the Terran is going to try and micro his units out of this little bit of a choke. Set up here, try and push Snow back. He picks up the Reaver before he can take any fire on it. So I think Terran's going to try and occupy this area so that he can take his 3rd base. Behind this, though, it looks like Snow is looking to set up at least the beginnings of a 6th base, which is just unbelievably aggressively greedy macro from this Protoss monster. But that's just who he is, and that's just how he plays, man. There's just no two ways about it. Okay, so leapfrogging slowly but surely. He's got the Goliaths here to deal with the shuttle. He's got a nice little flank position from his Dragoons. Does drop the Reaver down. The Reaver does get a nice Scarab, which hits a nice connection on at least 2 of the tanks. No units have gone down from the shuttles, but certainly a bit of damage has been done. Has kept this contain going the entire time and expanded yet again. Behind all this containment, Snow has just kept building workers and just kept expanding. Here is the engagement. He's just basically Dragoons, a couple of Zealots, and a Reaver. I think he realizes, though, he doesn't have enough to take this fight. He does drop the Reaver down. The whole idea is just to slow it down. Now with those siege tanks sieging up, he probably needs to back away, and he does. But 151 plays 108. He just gets such valuable picks with this Reaver play. Now these tanks are going to move forward, and I suspect that will be the last. There's 2 shuttles here. There's plenty of Reavers here. We could see some counter drops as well. Very patient and methodical from Snow. I don't know how or where he's going to try and take this base on. In other words, from which angle. A couple of those mines then could have become counterproductive. So Observer flies in from Snow, sees exactly what he's dealing with here. And here comes the drops, just Zealot bombing on top of this tank line. The perfect positioning of the Observer. Sees another. The tanks are forced to unsiege because of all these Zealot bombs. So the Dragoons move in, get some picks, and move away. I mean, the micro, the concentration, the minimal casualties, and the value of those little moves is just absolutely top-notch. Meanwhile, we have it's a Kokaru up here. It's not a blue unit, slightly deceiving. But anyway, neither here nor there. So 7th base has come in now from our... Oh, it wasn't a Kokaru, it was a Bling Vulture. I knew I could see some blue here. So this Vulture's here can attack the simulator, and this Goon's going to go and tidy him up. He's out of cannon range. There's some cannons here now, so it is a 7 basing Snow against a 3 basing Terran. He's just managed to saturate his third. His natural's still pretty healthy. His main is taking a bit of strain. 74 workers, huge amounts of macro from Snow here. Here he just seems to be building a whole heap of Stargates. So this is a pivot. Oh my god, what is he pivoting into? Is this going to be mass scout? I saw this once on an Autosis video where Snow went mass scout. Is that what he's going to do here, or is it going to be carriers? I don't know, but the blue has saw a window here to move out. I don't know if Snow has enough to hold here, although he does drop the Reavers down. I think he lost one potentially. I couldn't quite tell if it got picked up in time. Oh no, he does have both, and he is able to pick off the Vultures. The blue Terran though here is looking really strong. However, Snow's circling around for what looks like a bit of a flank. So if we go into a bird's eye view, here we see the units coming in from this side, and he's going to get himself a free tank here. Looks like he's going to go straight to after this third base and bypass the entire main army. So a couple of units that are here at basically the front door of Snow, but he's forced the entire army to come back with that very clever little pivot. Knowing he's going to lose all his units doesn't really phase him that much. We can see 5 scouts on the production tab, guys. Yes, Snow is making scouts in a PVT. This is real life. This is his tech switch. This is the power of 79 workers on 7 bases. It basically means you can make whatever you like as quickly as you like. The Goons here picking up some rallying tanks for absolutely free, and Snow here is engaging sort of front on with these tanks. Yes, they may get some damage done. They may even take down this natural. But behind this, the reinforcing units are just being intercepted by this little glimp of Goons. The command center could also go down. I think this Terran now is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, the Reavers and the constant micro are slowing this guy down, so he cannot really do as quick of a push as what he would want to. But this little pod of Goons, it's not many, it's 6 of them, are doing so much damage by constantly just picking off any reinforcements. I don't think they're going to get this command center. I think he could probably move a few siege tanks into position. Meanwhile, there are now some siege tanks that have sieged up to take on this base and potentially move in here. Snow, I think, is slowly gathering up some forces to maybe try and flank that group of tanks. Those 5 Goons are still going strong, slowing down the reinforcements again, moving right on top of this tank, picks that tank off. Does he get this tank as well? You bet he does. And this mine, though, oh, that's a painful one. Alright, so this Nexus does go down, but now the question is, how many units and when will Snow show the scouts? We're going to have to get a quick scout count over here. We are getting a whole clump of them, and that's going to be the big surprise. It's going to move in, and suddenly it's going to go, where the hell did all these scouts come from? We don't see Goliaths in the production tab of our Terran. We see Vultures and tanks. He's just expecting a standard game from Snow. He's not expecting this unit switch. Here suddenly come the slow scouts. There's no upgrades on these boys. That's just going to be bad news really quick. 146 plays 121. A couple of zealot bombs, and surprise! It's the scouts! Hello, how are you? Sorry, I got so excited to see scouts in a game of very high level professional Starcraft players that my mouse had a little bit of a spasm. Now he's like, oh crap, I don't have any Goliaths. I have 1 turret, which I can blow away very quickly. So now the tanks kind of have to run away, and that's going to be really painful. So, what does Snow make? He's stopped making scouts for the time being. It looks like he's just making dragoons. I don't see any zealots or anything like that in the production tabs. All I see in the production tab is +1, faster scout movement, 6 goons, 4 scouts. So he's still making some scouts, obviously a little bit cash strapped. The Vultures are going to put some pressure on this base. I don't think 2 cannons is going to be enough, so this base is probably also going to go down. It has to fight with the probe. No, he doesn't fight with the probes. Does pull the probes. Only 2 cannons appear and 1 goon, so that's also in a little bit of trouble. But suddenly this big clump of scouts has become a seriously critical mass. So the Goliaths come in to engage with these, and he does move away. I think he just wants to tidy up this little group of Vultures here that's harassing this base and take a breath. The Terran also has to kind of lick his wounds and go, what do I do now? I mean, this is just scout galore, man. There's so many scouts here. Alright, so we take our breath and we see I wonder if, I was just thinking if Snow would even look at taking another base at this stage. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So his goons are here, so it's basically goons, zealots, and scouts. That's all we need. We don't worry about carriers, we don't worry about arbiters, we don't worry about recall. We just play it cool, man. Just the observer here. So where is our party of scouts is the question. None here. There's a couple of zealots over here. There's an observer over there. This looks like the... Yeah, so this is now our group of upgraded scouts. Okay. Let's have a look at what they have. So they've got +1/+1. And they are picking off all of the SCVs of the 4th base of this Terran. So the newest source of income and what is absolutely critical for this Terran to stay in this game is this base. He just flew in and got himself about 10 SCVs for nothing. Meanwhile, a lot of the main mechanical units of the Terran were headed up this way. So Snow uses the opportunity to move in on this 3rd base for what feels like the 100th time. So now he does siege up here. The vultures, the Goliaths, the tanks, the goons now want absolutely nothing to do with this for now. But of course we have our scout patrol that's just going to go in, wreck that barracks. Oh my god, that barracks literally just evaporated in seconds. There are so many scouts here. Everything just dies so fast. This is almost the equivalent of dropping a whole heap of units into the space, but there's nothing on the ground. He has to pull his entire army back to try and fight this. So here we do see some Goliaths coming back. And I don't know if he just wants to engage against these Goliaths. Probably not. The scouts are pretty fast. They can move in and out quite quickly. He could group them up with these units and probably just try and take this on. Flying in straight over because he knows the Goliaths have to come all the way back down the hill because of the pathing. Specifically picking off the tanks so that the goons now could probably move in and start taking on the Goliaths. So very, very strategic in the target firing of what units he wants to get out of his way. The scouts are constantly moving around, almost like Corsairs do in a PvZ. And now he will leave the ground army to take on the Terran army as and when he feels he wants to engage. So again, going to circle back here. This time though goes, okay, so you're ready for me here. More scouts joining the party. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Stargates. 68 workers. He hasn't taken another base for a while. Just decide 7 is enough. And I think he's going to move across the map here. He hasn't moved all of it. No, he has. He's just got one Lonely Reaver over here. But I think these goons are going to go down. He's going to need scouts to help him. But he's basically just gone all for this base. Full on moving these scouts here, knowing he would rather just sack that army against the ground, killing every single SCV. And now as the Terran moves across the map, I reckon these scouts are either going to intercept or may just move into... take on even more of the production facilities of the Terran. There's a lot of options here for Snow in terms of what to do with these scouts. But the Terran does get to move across the map pretty uncontested. He's got a whopping 15 SCVs though. So he's somehow going to have to destroy the entire army of Snow with what you see here. There's literally nothing else left. A couple of DTs coming in. They've obviously just been scanned as they come down the hill. They didn't achieve an awful lot. So Snow does move in. He can decide to go and pick off even more buildings if he so chooses. I don't know when or if he's going to feel necessary to take on this remaining handful of units. For now, the scouts are just flying into the main, picking off the Goliaths here almost one at a time. He just doesn't have critical mass in terms of the Goliaths. So he could now take down all the depots. He could move across here and fight the tanks. I think he's going to do that. So as they move up into his main, I think he may just go, alright, enough's enough. I've got even more scouts here. Nope. So this time, picking across here, taking him down to 5 SCVs. So a quick stop off before he goes to reinforce his main. Very patient, very calm from Snow, knowing exactly where he is in terms of this game and how few workers his Terran opponent has. He doesn't really have an awful lot to be worried about. Could go back in here and destroy all the depots. Could go back in and destroy all the command centers. I think that's what he chooses to do. So doesn't really seem to mind letting this fall. He's got all of the infrastructure that he wants here anyway, including the fleet beacon. So he doesn't... oh no, I beg your pardon, the fleet beacon's here in his main. So he'd probably have to rebuild the fleet beacon if that. But But yeah, here we go. So moving back out again with his scouts. This is not the kind of PVT you see every day. So our Terran is taking another base. He's got 2 SCVs. Two. This is so funny. I love it. Okay, so our huge pot of scouts is on the way. I don't know when or if our Terran is just going to go. Well, I don't know if I can win with 2 SCVs and 80 minerals. But it sure does feel good to destroy a main. So that's what I'm going to do. Snow, at no point choosing to engage directly with the biggest part of the army. Just flies around, just keeps killing the Terran's money. Knowing that that's pretty much all he needs to do. And he inevitably will win. Even kill the poor Ursidon. I don't know what the Ursidon did to him. But it was entertaining nonetheless. Alright, so 49 workers. So obviously a little bit of damage was done by destroying his main. But we have a mining base here, we have a mining base here, we have a mining base here, and we are just basically rebuilding pylons because that's what we lost that we actually value at the stage. Our scouts are flying around killing everything they want to, and now it's going to be killing the factories, I think. So it kills the turret, kills the other turret, and it's going to kill the science facility. Not killing the production as of yet. I think now probably would bring his units into the fight. So as the Terran now moves in to try and take down this main or this new main of Snows, I think this is where the scouts are going to jump on the Goliaths from this angle. We'll have to see. Alright, so here do come our scouts, and they're just going to fight head on. I think he thinks he has enough numbers. He probably does with the upgrades. Trying his damnedest to micro these Goliaths as best he can, but there are only a 4 or 5 left, and there are still tons of scouts available, and many more where that came from. So our Terran GG's. Out he goes. Snow doesn't GG back, but he stays in the game to wreck the remaining tanks. Obviously feeling really pumped up about that one, or maybe a little bit frustrated that it took so long for our Terran to GG. Guys, this is Ladder. This is Snow. This is him trolling, having fun. It's very entertaining to see some of the creative stuff he does, like going mass scouts versus Terran. I had a load of fun bringing you this game. I'm Rabidroo, Variety Broodwar caster. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's game. I'll be back soon with many more cool games to come. Until next time, ciao for now.